YouTube Ozzico in the Goat House is back with the fan-voted mock draft for the 2020 NFL Draft. A mock draft that I really can't get yelled at for in the comments. Do all kinds of mock drafts. People let me have it for my predictions, but this one we do once every single year. You guys voted for. Appreciate anyone that joined along for that on Twitter. Missing out if you're not following that Twitter, but a bunch more content on the way there. NFL draft talk, grades, polls. So make sure you follow that Twitter and subscribe to our channels. We're going to be live April 23rd, day one of the NFL draft, right here on YouTube. Hopefully you can join us for that. It'll be a lot of fun. And then the link in the description of the comments for our second channel and our Twitter and anything else that you need. So let's see who you guys picked for each team. Joe Burrow at the top for the Bengals. Yeah, I expected that one. Pretty obvious there, and that should be the pick. And then Chase Young, too, to the Redskins, another obvious one. No surprise there. We expect it to be the pick. The Lions, Jeff Okudah, corner, Ohio State. Most of this process, what we all kind of thought would happen, so not really a surprise. But I'm starting to feel that, they may trade back. We all know that. And, they could go that Isaiah Simmons or Derek Brown route. They really could, because you had to think most teams have those guys higher on their board overall. So the Lions want to trade back. Do they want to draft off need, the bigger need, or they want to go best player available? But Okudah being there, expected that one. The Giants go Isaiah Simmons, and the question there is, does he fit? They run more of the 3-4 scheme. If they want to keep the scheme, they have the players for that. And does Simmons fit? I think he fits the 4-3 a little better, but he's that rare type of player that can fit and do anything for you, really. So it'll be tough to pass on Isaiah Simmons. I kind of get the feeling that it's still going to be tackle, but they do want to trade back. Now, trying to identify, if they want to trade back, who is that for? Who is that for? It could be Simmons still, because if they trade back, maybe the Chargers hop the Dolphins. Who knows? The Chargers could want Simmons, though, too, so maybe they're afraid of that. I would think they would want to tackle, but I guess the Chargers could be coming up for that as well. The Dolphins also would be in the market for a tackle or Simmons. So confusing on why the Giants would want to move back behind those two teams, because they may be after the same things they are after, but then they have that quarterback that they may be after if they're trading up. So there has to be some kind of communication where, what are you trading up for? We hear that teams do that, they have the trust with each other. So that's going to be very, very, very interesting there. But you guys went with Simmons. Dolphins went 2 of 5, which starting to believe it could be realistic that he's dropping, because the injury scare, it's serious, I believe in Tua. I think he's a great player. I'd take him over the rest of the quarterbacks, kind of the field here. But we see teams kind of panic about, in the past drafts, every single draft almost that existed, guys drop because they have a little bit of an injury scare. We saw Jawan Taylor, who was my top tackle in the draft last year, drop significantly, and we were surprised, and it's because of a minor, keep in mind, minor injury scare, and that's a tackle. So we're talking quarterback. You got to put all your trust, your team, your organization into this quarterback, and you're going to take it that high. So if there is really an injury concern, I don't know if he goes this high, but it's not really a surprise you guys voted him 5. Justin Herbert, 6 of the Chargers. I'm on record saying I wouldn't agree with this pick, but I do think it is the pick. Derek Brown of the Panthers. They need help on the D-line. Not surprising at all that you guys voted for Derek Brown for the Panthers there. And another non-surprising one, Tristan Wirfs, plug-and-play right tackle for the Cardinals at 8 overall. So far, pretty straightforward. And then we're moving on to the next 8, which you guys voted for. Javon Kinlaw went 9 to the Jaguars. Yeah, they need defensive line help. So not a huge surprise at all there. So they could go. It's going to be interesting to see, what route they go, because the Jaguars, there's teams that draft off need, even if you agree with it or not. But the Jaguars, I think, evenly need a D tackle and a corner, probably at the top. So the order they choose is going to be interesting. Maybe they need a linebacker as well. Maybe they want to trade back in with the ammo they have to kind of complete the biggest needs there with top-tier talent. So Javon Kinlaw, 9th. Andrew Thomas, who's getting a lot of buzz lately. He feels like more of the safer offensive line pick. Becton has the upside. Most people have Jedrick Wills, like myself, number 1. Wirfs has the ability to play right tackle or guard. Where is he going to play? Thomas seems like the safer pick at left tackle, but definitely not the best upside. But the Browns getting him here at 10 would be great. CeeDee Lamb, you see the receivers come off the board now. CeeDee Lamb goes to the Jets. Not a surprise. Jerry Jeudy to the Raiders. Henry Ruggs to the Niners. All this is very realistic so far. And I think even though it's weird seeing receiver, 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 have we ever seen that before? I think it's very realistic, even though it looks kind of weird. It's something that's, and we actually could see, very interesting. If the Jets, we'll say the Jets go offensive lineman, so then the Raiders take the first receiver off the board, Niners take the second, the Bucks, we know they could like Henry Ruggs, a good fit for a receiver 3, which is a very important position, and the Broncos could really go Justin Jefferson. So we really could see in that scenario, which is realistic, 4 receivers go in a row, so pretty crazy. But then we go, Mekhi Becton falls to the Buccaneers to be tough to pass. But this one is where I kind of disagree a little bit with the fans voting that Jedrick Wills was still available, but that's where I got to stop myself a little bit because Jedrick Wills, 15 of the Broncos, I don't see it. And that I'm going to stick to that. But if you look back in what I said and look at the rest of the draft that we've went through so far, everything's pretty realistic. You can't really argue against those picks. So that means somebody has to fall here. It happened to be Jedrick Wills. My money is on it not being Wills, but somebody will have to be here. And that's what people, get me in the comments sometimes, like, how do you have this guy here? There's no way he's going to be there. Well, that means somebody's going to be there. You have to take somebody away from the earlier picks. So that's pretty interesting that we don't really see Wills a lot 15th, but it is somewhat possible because you look at the picks before and they're realistic. Again, I don't think it'll be Wills, but I do think he's the best tackle in the class. But it's all about scheme fit with the offensive lineman too. So we'll see. That'll be big time for the Broncos there. I would imagine if they made that pick, I'd be confident in them that they're confident that he can play left tackle because that's more of the area of need. But then the Falcons go Clavon Chason. A lot of rumors that the Falcons are trading up. But last week they're going to trade up just inside the top 10. So everyone's thinking, are they targeting Kinlaw? Are they targeting C.J. Henderson? Maybe it's even Chason still. But now today, actually, a little bit ago, we're hearing that they want to trade up in the top 5. And that's interesting, too. Is it Isaiah Simmons? Because they need that extra linebacker. They run with a lot of 2 linebackers, so they need somebody that can really do a lot. So Simmons next to Deion Jones makes a lot of sense. But they could be in the market for Okudah. Or even Derek Brown, to pair with Grady Jarrett there. So that'd be pretty interesting. If they trade in the top 5, I would think and I would hope for their case it's Isaiah Simmons. But you guys voted for Chason here to pair with Dante Fowler and then maybe a switch to a 3-4, perhaps, mainly because of Fowler. I think Chason can play in either. So pretty interesting there, but no surprise. Next few, C.J. Henderson, who's getting a lot of top 10 buzz now, and that's because of his upside, because of his traits. I don't think he's going to make a crazy impact right away, but he has, because he has things that you can't coach. The press ability, the athletic ability, the burst, break on the ball. That's kind of what stands out the most. But those things are, things that are already in place. Everything else you have to coach, you have to work on him with. I don't think he's here based on what I'm hearing, and that I trust that. If he is here, the Cowboys would take him. So it's a possibility. Trades really shakes everything up. I think somebody needs to trade in the top 10 to take C.J. Henderson. By that, I don't mean they have to if they really want him. I think if nobody in the top 10 trades, or even if there's a trade up for a quarterback and then nobody else trades, I don't think Henderson's picked in the top 10. I think somebody from the outside coming in, maybe that I could argue that the Jags can take him at 9. But it may be a trade up for him. Just a feeling I get. The Dolphins take Josh Jones, and they'll need a tackle at this point. So that is, it's smart and very realistic. Raiders take Patrick Queen, which was, through most of this process, a hot pick, a common pick. But now I'm starting to think, maybe not. And a lot of you guys know that this voting process was a process. So I think a lot of you may agree now that it's still possible, but they may go for, they took a receiver with that first pick. They may go the corner route here. So, but Patrick Queen, to kind of add, to finish off that linebacker, pretty solid. Christian Fulton, the Jags, very realistic, obviously. Getting the A.J. Bouye comparisons, he's gone. They bring Fulton in, very possible. Justin Jefferson to the Eagles. Yes, if he's sitting here, I heard that they are rumored in on guys like CeeDee Lamb possibly at the top, Henry Ruggs. So a trade up is possible, and I also heard if they miss on that, they actually could trade back from 21. But if Justin Jefferson is available, I just don't see them trading back. I think they'll be in on Jefferson still. And then the Vikings take Jeff Gladney, TCU corner, and we know they need corners. They actually need a few other things as well, but they have 2 first-round picks, luckily. It's going to be hard for Zimmer to pass on a corner, it feels like. So, that made sense. Patriots go Jordan Love, which I would love for the Patriots, and that feels like a possibility because it sounds like the Patriots in on a quarterback. The only thing scary is teams trying to trade up ahead of of the Patriots to kind of snake them away from them. And you look at what we talked about. The Eagles can't land their trade-up receiver. They may be willing to trade back, and we've heard the Vikings at 22 may be able to trade back. So those, Patriots sitting in a tough spot. They may be scared of that if they really want a guy like Love and he's still there. So those are the spots to look out for. And the Saints take Kenneth Murray, which I've been mocking as well, because I think he's a good fit, exactly what they've been missing, exactly what they need. They were targeting Jamie Collins, who's that kind of pass rush off the ball linebacker, exactly what Kenneth Murray is, and I think Murray will be better, actually. So that would be fantastic, and they need pass rush from that linebacker unit. Kind of adding that, extra to their game would be big time. But I also on record saying that if the Saints are going to win it all this year, it's going to be because the offense is that dominant. So maybe they want the help. That extra help to get there, because they're very close and they perhaps could be at any given time the most dominant offense in football. So it's interesting. Do they go kind of the Kenneth Murray route, which is a great fit, what they need, or do they go offense for the reasons I explained? And then we got the Vikings taking Denzel Mims, the Baylor receiver. I would like this pick a lot. I think, if they had to choose between Mims and Rager, we'll say, for some reason, something tells me they go Rager. I think the ability to kind of get him the end arounds, which they love to do, and just, more of the speedy throw, even though Mims is very fast as well. For some reason, I think they would go that route, but Mims would be a great pick. The Dolphins take Deandre Swift. I don't know if a running back goes first. I'm kind of leaning towards they don't, just because there's not much splitting up. Swift, Dobbins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, not much splitting up, them up, so I think there's better value here. So we'll see, but it's definitely possible. The Seahawks take A.J. Epinesa. They could use a pass rusher. Yeah, I think it's a good fit. They may worry about the athleticism. They took Collier last year, who I viewed as more of an inside guy or a 3-4 end, and they took a chance on him. So do they do it again with A.J. Epinesa? So that's the only concern about that. The Ravens take Cesar Ruiz, the center/guard. Many believe he can play guard, which I do too, from Michigan, and that's where he'll play if the Ravens took him. I think he'll take Marshall Yonda's spot, so an upgrade there. Titans take Zach Bond. I do love the fit in the Vrabel defense. That pass rusher on the edge. They could use the pass rush help, but what the bonus from Bond is he can drop back in coverage and play pretty well there. And the Titans do like to blitz their inside linebackers, and we'll be able to do more of that with the edge rushers dropping back in coverage like Bond. So that pick makes sense. There's a couple fits I really like for the Titans there, that being one of them. The Packers take Jalen Reagor, receiver TCU, exactly what the Packers have been missing and, are missing right now. This would be a big-time pick for them. It's nothing crazy in terms of value because some of us expect him to be there. There's a lot. He's really good. I like Reagor a lot, and I think he could go earlier in this, but a lot of us expect him. It's a realistic pick, but at the same time, I think that'll make this offense that much better because he can just do so much. It's kind of that new school Randall Cobb type that I think has more to his game and actually more speed. So that'll be big time for the Packers and very realistic at the same time. So sitting in a pretty good spot if that's the case. Niners take Trevon Diggs. Would absolutely love this pick. I'm a huge Trevon Diggs fan. Been preaching that for so long. My number 2 corner. And now today we actually start to hear that people are saying that the league is higher on a few guys that the media is, and Diggs was being one of them, and I'm not surprised. The teams are seeing what I see. I kind of figured that, or I see what the teams see. We just, didn't know that. So it's just, I really think he's the second best corner in the class, and I would absolutely, if he went to the Niners, I think he'd be the best corner from this class. And that may sound crazy, but I think he would be. Go to the Niners, perfect situation with that defense, that pass rush, but mainly I view Trevon Diggs as a press zone corner, which the Niners do a lot with their press cover 3. We see Richard Sherman thrive in that. Trevon Diggs, that is perfect for him. So I would be jumping. I'm not a 49ers fan. I'd be jumping up and down for the 49ers with that one. Be excited. And then A.J. Terrell, who's getting a lot of buzz. He apparently might go earlier in this as well. But the Chiefs, I still think a realistic pick, and they may not pass on him if he's there. So I think maybe the league's a little higher on him than everyone else. You just worry about physicality, a little bit. He can be physical, but when he got beat, look at the Jamar Chase, that battle. He got beat because, I think Jamar Chase was just too physical for him. That's maybe something you don't like to see, but was dominant in many other big games for them. And then we got to see some of the other picks as well. Teams that didn't have a first-round pick, I held a poll and kind of just guessed, who could be there for them. And the Colts take T. Higgins, you guys voted for. So I think a perfect fit. They've kind of been looking for that, stretch, that outside type of receiver, contested catch type of receiver, and they finally get one here in T. Higgins. Texans take Neville Gallimore, so kind of to replace DJ Reader there, so that made sense. Could play some nose tackle, I think the new school type of nose tackle. The Bears took Lloyd Cushenberry from LSU, and I think would start at guard for them. They're kind of they could use a tackle for the future, but I think for a starter right now, they're kind of missing one more guard, and I would like him at guard for them. Steelers take Jonathan Taylor, so they take the Wisconsin back. I mean, a great situation for him because he needs to be limited because of the fumbles and then the amount of carries he had in his career, but you don't want to limit him too much because he has that big playability. You pair him with James Conner, and that's absolutely perfect situation there. So the Steelers go that route. The Rams, Sadiq Charles, I love the fit there. I think he would start at guard right away, but he played at a high level at tackle. And the Rams are kind of the team that needs starting guards right now, and they need tackles for the future. That's just based on who they have right now, and that makes sense to me there. And the Bills take Julian Okwara, edge rusher from Notre Dame, who should go earlier in this, but actually may not. This is actually very realistic because he broke his fibula this year, missed the second half of the season, not a whole bunch of medical check options, didn't get to see him at the combine, and some teams view him as a little undersized, and we know how teams overreact from that. Coaches will say, and scouts will overreact from that. So it's possible, and I would love this pick for the Bills. I think perfect on the edge for them. There, and they get better for sure, and a team with very few needs, and that definitely helps them. So that's what you guys voted for here. So you can't get mad at me. You can get mad at each other in the comments. Looking forward to seeing those. We do this every single year, so follow our Twitter to kind of keep updated with that. But we're going to have a lot more polls and things like this where you guys vote. We'll have, I guess, grades for all the teams. You guys can vote on what the grade should be. So a lot of content along those lines there. So the Twitter's a must follow. And then join us. We'll be live April 23rd, day one of the NFL Draft, right here on YouTube. Hopefully you can join us for that. And the Twitter will cover the rest of the rounds. So, again, absolutely must follow there. But that looks like it's going to wrap it up. So, again, click that like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And stay tuned for plenty more content before the draft and then throughout the draft as well. All kinds of winners, losers, grades, all of that. Mock drafts, even in between days there. So, very excited to do all that. Cannot wait for the draft. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.